Nebraska, 1882. A man is doing something his neighbors cannot explain. While every family on the Sandhills Prairie is desperately stacking wood, cutting sod, and nailing boards against the coming winter, this man is cleaning out an abandoned brick oven. Not building, cleaning. His name is Albrecht Fennick, and in 3 months, when the temperature drops to 20 below zero and stays there for 25 days straight, his neighbors will assume he and his entire family are dead. They will be wrong.
Oh, Albrecht, your fears are unfounded. The matter is
closed. Every
I have considered
builder,
everything.
Every
We proceed as
frontier
planned.
veteran, every man
Albrecht,
who
I know
had
what you saw.
survived a
We have
Nebraska
to move
winter
now.
had completely
There's no time for
missed
hesitation.
was a
We
single
act tonight.
principle so simple and
will
so
be warm.
old that it had been forgotten entirely. Heat does not live in fire.
He's
Heat
inside now. That
lives
arch
in
is silent.
stone.
What do you
And
think
this
is in there?
the story of how one German brickmaker, laughed at by his whole community, kept his wife and children warm without a single fire for 3 days straight in the worst winter the Sandhills had ever seen. Act 1. The Man in the Kiln. October 1882, Sandhills, Nebraska. The wind on that prairie had been doing its work for 1,000 years. It knew every crack in every wall. It knew every gap between logs, every poorly sealed joint. It did not stop at night. It did not rest on Sundays. On the edge of a small settlement, little more than a handful of cabins clinging to the vast grassy flatlands, Albrecht Fennick was hauling ash. Wagon load after wagon load of old ash, broken brick, and the remains of dead animals that had crawled inside seeking shelter and never left. The structure he was cleaning was a beehive brick kiln, a relic, a round, domed cylinder of soot-stained red brick, 20 feet across, left over from a brick-making operation that had failed years before. It sat on the edge of the settlement like a blister on the land. Cleet Warford, the county building inspector, pulled his buggy to a stop nearby. With him was Silas Croft, a rancher whose opinion carried weight in that community. They watched Albrecht
This property is
emerge
hereby
from the
condemned
dark
due to
mouth
severe
of the
structural
kiln,
failures,
face
posing an
black
imminent
with
threat to
soot,
safety and
arms
public health.
corded with the kind of muscle that only comes from decades of heavy labor. Fennick, Warford called out, "What in God's name are you doing?" Albrecht wiped his brow, leaving a streak of grime across his forehead. "Preparing our home for winter," he said. Warford laughed, not a kind laugh, a sharp, dismissive bark that the wind carried away across the grass. "A home? That is a furnace, an industrial structure. It is not fit for man or beast." Silas Croft shook his head slowly, and there was something in his expression that was almost worse than mockery. It was pity. "Albrecht, listen to him. We all had a hard first winter here, but this, putting Annalise and the children in there, that is foolishness. That is a tomb." "It will be warm," Albrecht said quietly. Then he turned and walked back into the darkness of the kiln. Warford stared at the black opening for a long moment. "The man is mad," he said to Silas, not bothering to lower his voice. "He will freeze his family solid before the new year." That judgment settled over the
Albrecht, your
community
fears are
like
unfounded.
dust.
The matter is closed.
Everyone agreed.
I have considered
Everyone
everything. We
waited
proceed
for the
as planned.
tragedy that was surely
Albrecht, I
coming.
know what you saw.
What none of
We
them
have to move
asked,
now.
not
There's
one
no time for
experienced
hesitation.
frontier
We act
builder
tonight.
among them, was a simple question.
be warm.
What does a German brickmaker know about fire that we do not? Act 2.
He's inside
the
now.
first
That arch
winter
is silent.
he never forgot.
What do you think is in there?
Albrecht Fennick was not a carpenter. He was not a farmer. He had never been a frontiersman. Back in Germany, near the Rhine, he was a Ziegelei operator, a master of fired clay. His entire life had been built around one material, brick, and one force, heat. He knew how brick absorbed fire, held it, and released it slowly. He had spent decades loading kilns, building fires, and watching the slow cycles of energy that turned raw clay into something as hard and permanent as stone. That knowledge had not protected his family during their first Nebraska winter. They had arrived with the same hope as every other immigrant family, a small plot of land and a timber cabin the land agent called sturdy. It was not sturdy. It was a box of cold air wrapped in thin, porous walls. Within weeks of the first freeze, Albrecht understood the brutal truth of it. That winter had been a slow disaster. They burned through their entire wood supply by January. What remained was green cottonwood, sappy and wet, which hissed and smoked in the stove but gave almost no heat. Albrecht remembered lying awake at midnight, the fire already dead, the temperature inside the cabin already falling to freezing. He remembered the frost on the nail heads inside the walls, each one a tiny star of cold radiating inward.
This property is hereby condemned due to severe structural failures, posing an imminent threat to safety and public health.
Months. His children, Hans and Greta, always cold, always wrapped in everything they owned. They survived, but something changed in Albrecht that winter. He began to think about why the cabin failed, not just how cold it was, but why the heat kept leaving. And the answer, when it came to him, was something he had understood with his hands his entire life, but had never applied to a building. The cabin had no memory. A timber wall, even a thick one, stores almost nothing. Wood is light, low density, porous. You heat the air inside a log cabin, and the moment the fire dies, that heat moves straight through the walls and disappears into the night. There's nothing to hold it, nothing to give it back. It was, Albrecht thought, like trying to keep soup in a paper cup. You could burn more wood, you could bank the fire higher, but you were always fighting the same losing battle, making heat as fast as the walls let it escape, and the walls always won. The men on the sandhills were not bad builders. They were fighting with the wrong material.
Oh, Albrecht, your fears are
had
unfounded.
spent his
The matter is
life
closed.
working with the right
I have
one.
considered everything. We proceed
Act
as
3,
planned.
what he built.
Albrecht, I know what you
The
saw.
work he did on
We have
the
to
old
move now.
kiln was not
There's no time for
construction.
hesitation.
The
We
structure
act
was
tonight.
already there, already sound,
It will be
already
warm.
exactly what he needed. It was modification. It was preparation. It was the work of a man who understood
inside
his
now. That
material
arch is silent.
completely.
What do you think is
First,
in there?
He cleaned every surface and inspected every brick and mortar joint. He repointed the mortar with a mixture of local clay, sand, and lime, sealing every crack, not just against wind, but against moisture. Then he built something inside that most of his neighbors had never seen and would not have understood if they had. In one corner of the great circular space, he constructed a masonry heater. Not a large open fireplace, not a simple cast iron stove. This was a design he remembered from his youth in Germany, a small, efficient firebox with a long, winding internal flue. The hot gases from a fire would travel through a series of brick channels built inside a thick wall before they were allowed to exit through a narrow chimney at the top of the dome. Every meter of that winding path pulled more heat out of the smoke before it escaped. Almost nothing was wasted. Then he divided the interior of the kiln with timber framing and planks, 2 small sleeping rooms and a larger living area, a house inside a house, the wooden interior for living, the massive brick dome around it as something else entirely, as a battery. Albrecht's kiln was 3 feet thick. The total mass of the brick in that structure was over 90 tons. A standard log cabin might contain 10 tons of wood. Here is what that difference means.
This
in
property is
physical
hereby
terms.
condemned due to
Firing
severe
brick
structural
stores
failures,
roughly
posing an
4
imminent threat
times
to
more
safety
heat
and
energy
public
per
health.
cubic